It is finally here. Finally. The trip to Japan. I'm so excited about this. We've been planning this for 3 years probably since we first started talking about it. And then Japan hadn't opened their borders for a long time, so we couldn't do it last year like we wanted to. And instead, you know, I know, boohoo for us, we went to London and Paris, so check out those videos. But now we're on our way to Japan. We're gonna be doing several days in Tokyo, not all together. A couple of days at Tokyo Disney and a couple of days in Kyoto. And I would like to bring you along for the ride. So please join me and 10 of my friends who are coming along on this trip. Booking this has been somewhat of an ordeal. We booked all of our flights way back in January, February timeframe, even though the flight wasn't going to happen until the end of September. But we wanted to lock in the prices because they were really good at the time. But in that time, our flight changed quite a bit because of our original flight leaving from Denver to Vancouver, because we're transferring to Vancouver, which is where I am right now, by the way. I'm in the Vancouver airport. It changed from being an early morning flight to later in the morning, which meant we wouldn't have made our connecting flight, and then they were going to put us on a Japanese airline flight or Japan Air flight, and then the flight in the morning got canceled altogether, so we ended up having to fly in the night before. So we flew into Vancouver last night, and we are leaving this morning. So we stayed at a hotel rather than hanging out in the airport for 15 hours, I think is what it would have been altogether. So we got a hotel that was nearby and stayed overnight, which I think is ultimately better, because if we had left when we originally were going to Saturday morning, it's a Saturday right now, then we would have had to get up at something like 3 o'clock our time, fly to Vancouver, and then fly to Japan. And altogether, it was a lot of traveling over the same day after having gotten up early, and I knew that we'd be exhausted. So having this break in the middle, flying last night, taking a full night of sleep, and then coming to the airport, I think we're gonna be a little bit more refreshed when we get there. We don't want to go to bed right when we get there, of course, because we want to get on their time. So we're going to get there around 3 o'clock. We'll probably get to the hotel around, I don't know, 4 or 5-ish. And then we want to spend the rest of the night awake. But thankfully, we'll have lots of people to hang out with, because we are going to be the last people arriving. A couple of our friends came a week ago, and they're going to meet us in Tokyo on Monday. And we're traveling with our friends Josh is here, obviously. Our friends Calvin and Chris and Anika, who is Chris's sister. And so we're traveling with them. And then there's another couple of friends of ours who are also traveling today, but they're transferring through Seattle. They were on a different flight, so they didn't have to go through the trials and tribulations that we went through to change our flights around. And then finally, our friends Marshall and Eric and Cody are already in Japan now too. They left the day before we did, so they got there yesterday. The interesting thing about the time change is we're gonna leave here around noonish today, Vancouver time. When we land in Tokyo, because we're crossing the international date line, we're going to land tomorrow at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. But then when we come back, we leave about 5 o'clock Japan time, and we get back to Denver just about 5 o'clock Denver time, same day. So even though we will have traveled for, I don't know, 15, 16 something hours or so, we won't actually have spent any of that time. We'll get home pretty much the exact time we left. It's weird. It's kind of fun to think about how time works like that. I mean, how we use time as people in the world. I forgot to mention that for breakfast this morning, we did a very Canadian thing and had Tim Hortons. I have never eaten there before. I've only been to Canada once before for work many years ago when we were on the other coast over in near Halifax in Nova Scotia. And of course, now we're in Vancouver. I thought Tim Hortons was pretty good. Like, I mean, it didn't knock my socks off, but I liked it. They have something called the London Fog Tea Latte, which is Earl Grey tea done as a latte. It was pretty good. I would get that again. I gotta try to track something like that down. We made it. It was a long flight. I'll talk about that later. But we made it to Japan, and I love this Nintendo mural that they have here to welcome you to Japan as you're going down the escalator here. Oh, this is pretty cool. I'm a big fan of Mario games, Nintendo in general. I was playing Legend of Zelda on the way here for a little while. First meal after arriving is ramen. We were just walking around looking for a place to eat, and We came across a ramen shop. Probably not that hard to come across a ramen shop, but I got the miso. This looks pretty good. I have been looking forward to the vending machines here. I don't know what any of these things are. I mean, some of them say obviously like water right there, lemon, some Monster Energy. So those are obvious, but it looks like there's a lot of coffee in here. And that is some kind of tomato juice, it looks like. Water.
We have a caffeine-free barley tea over
I don't know what this is. I have 100. Looks like iced tea. Okay, that looks good. I'm willing to try things.
Caffeine a lot.
And then lemon tea over here.
It's caffeine-free
Barley
tea.
Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
That looks like apple juice because there's an apple on it. And oh yeah, that does look like orange juice, doesn't it?
Almost looks like a banana, but I don't think it is.
They're all the same.
Oh, I know. Kind of has that look. Cafe au lait, espresso. So price not too bad. Oh, you can do Suica cards on this one. I've been looking for ones that do that because I want to test out my Suica card. So I might actually get something. Let's see how it works. We're staying in Shinjuku at a hotel called the Knot Shinjuku. I think that's a chain because there's more than one. There's at least two. We're staying in the one in Shinjuku, but it's near the government building, which is that big red building sticking out over there. And it's across the street from a park, so you can see all the trees right there. But that looks pretty. Marshall said, a friend who's here with us said that yesterday it was all blue, but tonight it's all red. So I guess they changed their color scheme every so often. I will give you a quick room tour, and by quick I mean really quick, because it is not very big, but that's pretty typical for hotels in Japan, unless you're paying a lot. So we have like this desk area here, or like there's a fridge down there, which is really more of a cooler. There's a water boiler there, and I'm not sure what's in there. I'll have to look. And then this is where we keep everything, all of our different daily pills, like, you know, our fish oils and our vitamins and stuff. And this, by the way, this is the brick that we take with us whenever we go anywhere. You only have to plug one thing in. This one will charge 10 USBs. Actually, this is a 12 USB. We used to have a 10. And then, so that's this kind of foyer area here. And then you have the toilet and the sink and the tub. That shower head, so the tub goes in pretty deep. That shower head still is only at my chest level. My friend Marshall is taller than I am, so I wonder how he's dealing with it. Other than that, the pressure is really good. The water's good, the pressure's good. It's a really good shower. They give you a lot of amenities. Like there's face soap and hand soap there, and then over there you have body soap, shampoo and conditioner, and then a 5-star toothpaste. My favorite thing about being in Japan, among probably many favorite things, is they have bidets. And so when you sit down, it starts putting water into a little reservoir, at least it sounds like it does, and it's warm, and then you can control it from over here on the wall. So you just hold down this button, it starts spraying, and you feel more clean and refreshed. But every place you go in Japan, almost every place you go in Japan is gonna have one of those. What's interesting about this bathroom is it's very much like a cruise ship, where you have to step up into it, and it is a pretty significant size step. Not just a slight kind of step up. But I also like good design because they realize that water's probably going to come out, so they have a drain down there in the corner, right where you expect the water to come out, because it's probably splashing off your body against the wall and then onto the floor. So that's really good design. Then a couple of beds. They're essentially singles, but I think they're a little bit longer than singles, like maybe the kinds you get in a college dorm. Yeah, that's what Josh was saying. So we have 2 of those. Ignore our junky stuff. And then we have one little table, tiny table, one tiny little chair, a TV that we haven't turned on yet, but you can hook up your own HDMI if you want to, which is pretty cool. There is a flashlight here, like if you're gonna get up in the middle of the night, and then it just kind of hooks in there. Because this room does actually get very dark, which is pretty cool.
Wonderfully dark.
You can open the windows, which isn't assured in every hotel in the world. Oops. There it is. So, and that's our view. I like that tower there. I mean, it's not the best view, but it's not the worst view either. We've definitely had worse views than this, but it's very Tokyo looking, and that's what I like about it. Just some people walking down the street over there, going about their day. A person, at least. And a dog. Ooh, a puppy. Okay. Then they also have these for light, that if you need to,
Here.
And I'm just trying to understand how it like
This is for the
Like, hold on, I'll get to the
that,
control center in a minute, but all it does is really like swivel. It doesn't. I guess you just do that. I don't.
Mine stays.
Like if I wanted to, well, they'll stay in place, but if I wanted to read something, I guess that would be enough light. Generally, you can direct it, is what I'm saying. You can't really direct these other than a swivel. And then you have a little control center over there, which turns on room lights, the bed lights, or there's one bed on each side that controls either of the reading lights, essentially. And then the headboard up there.
Which I love that one.
Yeah, that's nice. And then the entry, which is cool because there is a light at the entry, and then there is, a switch at the entry, and then a switch over here. Yeah. So you can turn it on while you're coming in here, and you don't have to go all the way back over there to turn it off. Again, I like the design. Yes. And then there's a tiny little phone on the side there. But yeah, this is the Not Shinjuku. And we are paying about $70 US for every night that we're in this room. And we're not going to be here every single night because we are spending one night in the Disneyland Hotel when we go to Disney and spend a couple days. And then we're spending one night in a capsule hotel. I can't wait to show you that when we get to Kyoto. But, you know, for the nights that we're going to be here, this is absolutely perfect. The beds are very comfortable. Even though we're not going to be staying here 2 out of the 9 or 10 nights we're going to be here, I think it's just 9, we are still keeping this place. This is essentially our home base here in Tokyo, and then we're going to spend one night in Tokyo Disneyland, like I said, and one night in Kyoto, and we just paid for those separately. But we didn't want to have to drag our bags every single place that we were going to, and then trying to get this hotel back. It would have just been a nightmare, and since it was only $70 a night, that's not too bad. The conversion rate between the US and Japan is really good right now, so the price for our hotel was not that expensive, so we felt like it was better to do that than to try to logistically drag our bags everywhere, even though we're only staying in another place for a couple days. And that gave us an opportunity to do a couple of things. One is stay at a Disneyland hotel. We stay in Disney hotels when we go to Florida, but we've never stayed in a like Disneyland hotel, either in Paris or in Disneyland in California. This was our chance to do it, so we plan to do it, and we're splitting it with some other people. There's 10 of us going on the first day to Disney Sea, which is a unique park. And what I mean by that is, think about Epcot. Epcot is the only place Epcot is. There's nothing like Epcot, but there are plenty of places like Disneyland. There are plenty of places like California Adventure. They may be called something different, MGM Studios or whatever, but it's essentially the same kind of park. This is a wholly unique park called Disney Sea. So 10 of us, of the 12 of us that are here, are going for that one day, and then 6 of us are staying for the overnight and going to Disneyland the next day. This is our hotel, the Not Tokyo Shinjuku. So far it's been real nice. They have a bakery in there that looks really good. We're not having that this morning, but we're going to be here plenty of times. There is a restaurant that seems popular. I don't know if that means it's good or not, but it's popular. There's always people in it. And then there's that park across the street. And last night I showed you the government building, and here's what it looks like during the day. Oh, that's the wrong building. It's those ones sticking out over there with all of the different towers, or the 2 towers, and the satellite dishes up there. Interesting. But yeah, I didn't realize this park was raised. Like when you look at it on a map, I did Google Maps and I did the Earth view. I didn't realize it was so raised up. It's kind of cool. And not too far outside are vending machines, just like you expect. There's one in the hotel too. Let's see if these ones have anything different. Coke. I'm noticing there's not like a lot of Diet Cokes in these. You can find some with them, but not usual. Here's like a lemon flavored one. That's just mineral water here. I think that might have flavored. It's from some kind of Coke product. The black, that's coffee. That's another coffee, so that's a latte. Real Gold, I'm not sure what that is. Chill Out, not sure what that is. Relaxation, Coffee Max. There's a lot of coffee drinks. That's a green tea. I wouldn't mind a milk tea. I just need to find one. We're heading to the convenience store to get some breakfast. So, but I would have gotten a drink if I found one in here. Here is our haul, or my haul from the FamilyMart. I got an egg salad sandwich, and I got a milk tea with One Piece character on it. Luffy? I have seen a couple of episodes of the live action show. It's pretty, I was enjoying it. Josh got an iced tea over there. He's using his
Ceylon tea with a fruity aroma.
He's using his Google Translate to translate the. We had to do the same thing here because this looked like a milk tea, but I wasn't sure, so we did the Google Translate, and sure enough, it was. So what I really like about Japanese sandwiches, they cut off the crust, which actually just makes it look cute, but that wouldn't bother me. They use mayonnaise called Kewpie mayonnaise, which is made from just egg yolks instead of the egg white and yolks, and it makes it so much more rich. It's delicious, and I cannot wait to dig into it further because I already took a bite. I tried making this at home once, and it was good because I bought some Kewpie mayonnaise from Amazon. This is much better. What makes this even better is I'm having breakfast in the park that's across the street from the hotel, and there's some tables out here that open up at 6 in the morning, and we got up kind of early. And yeah, you can see, and there's a shrine over there, and we're here with Marshall. And there's a waterfall kind of on the other side of this. We're gonna go check out. And then we're gonna go hit a Starbucks because there's a friend of mine who's looking for a mug from Starbucks and we'd like to accommodate her. So we're gonna go check over there right after this. So I'm kind of a nerd for design and I love this. It's a water fountain, but it has different things. So you have like your drinking part there. You have sort of a faucet over here. And then you have like if you want to fill a water bottle or something. That is really cool. And then the trash you break up into incombustibles and combustibles. So you decide, I'm not exactly sure which way to go for certain things, but some stuff it's really obvious. You know, paper is combustible, but is plastic combustible? I'm not sure. In this same park, there is a shrine. And there's like a little museum over there too. And there's a koi pond right around the corner, but we came to the shrine to take a look. And there's a machine up there where you put 100 yen coin in, which is like $1 less than when conversion, and you get something like this, which I think is like a fortune, and then people will tie the fortune over here. And I want to confirm this because I'm not sure. If you don't like your fortune, you're supposed to tie it there, or if you do like your fortune, you're supposed to tie it there. Somebody told me that if you didn't like it, you would tie it there and you would try to get a different fortune or change your fate, but I don't want to say that without completely knowing, so I'll do some follow-up. Around the corner from that shrine, is a koi pond down over here, which is really cool. It's two sides. I don't see any of them coming across, but I'm sure they can. And then there's also a little mini shrine over here. And this is really cool because people leave like things of sake. I'm not sure what the papers are for. I can't tell if there's anything written on them or if there ever was, but we were looking at the beautiful detail of these, like, looks like a cat and it looks like an elephant. There's sort of a dragon, I think that's what that is there. Another elephant there. And again, something up here that looks like a crane. But there's a little footbridge here. And there's another little shrine over there and kind of a bigger one. And this is kind of what that looks like. But everywhere you go, there's these beautiful little shrines just in the park, for example. This is the Meiji Jingu shrine. We're here on our tour, so I'm not going to film anything she's doing because that's what she does for a living, but this is the Meiji Jingu shrine. This is a torii gate, and we're going to walk through this forest area. The forest here is man-made, so the person that this shrine is named after was the first modern emperor of Japan who decided to modernize Japan. He started wearing Western clothing, he cut his top knot, and essentially brought Japan into the modern world. And when he passed away, he was so beloved that they wanted to build a shrine, but the shrine, a Shinto shrine, has to be surrounded by a forest. So they planted 100,000 trees more than 100 years ago, and this is what it looks like now. These are sake barrels, which are offered up to the god, and they drink them and transfer their powers, and then you can have them in weddings. Each of these were donated by one of the sake manufacturers in Japan. And then over here, because of the modernization, they started drinking actual wine, like Western style wine, and these were all donated from France. This is the second torii gate. Oh, I forgot to mention, we're in Harajuku right now. This is the second torii gate. The circles you see up there are the crest of the royal family, which is chrysanthemums. This shrine, or excuse me, this particular gate survived the bombing of Tokyo at the end of World War II, but then it was struck by lightning and burned down So now they have a lightning rod, which is that green kind of metal looking rod over there, so that it can't happen again. Before you go through the third gate, you come over here to purify yourself. You do your hands, and people used to drink it and rinse their mouths, but after COVID, now it's just acceptable to wash your hands rather than having to put it in your mouth if you don't want to. Our guide was mentioning that roofs are very important because they get so much rain here. They need to protect the temples, so roofs are always really big because they need to protect what's underneath it. So we're walking into the shrine now. It took us a while just to even get to it. And here we are. Ooh, those trees are beautiful. People come here and they write their wishes down on these wooden blocks, and you put them up, and then eventually they will take them and burn them in a holy fire. And so, as you can see, I'm not going to get too close because I feel like it's kind of personal, but there's so many visitors here. There's some's in Japanese, some's in English. Somebody said there was some in Hebrew. One of our friends recognized it. And so, yeah, it's pretty cool. This is a really neat thing.
Our guide said that she had found a very funny one that made her laugh. It was wishing for like good luck and health and prosperity and lots of fried chicken.
That's funny. I didn't video a lot of this because there were some people there, but you can buy these talismans here, and some of them are just sort of generic, like for whatever my particular wish is, or you can buy one for something special. So Josh and I bought one, which I'll show you in the video later, because Josh has it and he's way up ahead. It was for good luck, and there were a couple of ones for that. So you pay 1,000 yen, which is, I don't know, probably about $7-ish bucks. And then you put it up somewhere in your house, and when your dream comes true or your wish comes true, you can bring it back here and put it into this building they have here, and then they will all be burned in a holy fire, which is pretty cool. So we're going for good luck. I figure that covers a lot. Plus it makes a really great souvenir. So our friend Chris got the Divine Protection Amulet, and then Josh and I got the Good Luck Amulet. There were two of them. One was kind of long and thin, sort of the way Chris's is there, and we wanted this one because we liked it better. But they were each 1,000 yen.
Actually, this is 300.
Oh, that was 300 yen?
Divine Protection apparently comes kind of cheap.
Yeah, Divine Protection comes cheap. That's so cool. We're up on a kind of an observation deck of a building across the street. We're in Asakusa right now. I wanted to point out that so there's the Tokyo Sky Tower, and this building here is meant to look, it's the home office of a beer company. It's meant to look like a beer. So you've got kind of the beer here, and that part is the foam. Sorry, it's getting the focus there. But that's what that's supposed to look like, and that's pretty cool. And I'm gonna show you what we're gonna go to next. There is where we are going to next, that temple, but then all of that space in front of it, we see all those people milling around, is shops and restaurants, just booths of stuff. They're permanent. So it's like a big old farmer's market, but that leads up to that temple there. I had to look up the name because I didn't remember when I was up on the deck. It's Sensoji Temple, which is over there. Now this is a Buddhist temple as opposed to a temple that we were, or a shrine that we were at earlier. And it's a very busy area. You can see all those people milling around out front. We were expecting it to be busy. So it's busy and it's touristy, but we are tourists, so that works out. Look at the size of that lantern. And that is the thunder god over there. I'm not sure if you can see that very well because it's behind sort of a mesh. That's the thunder god. That's the wind god. They both have fierce looks on their faces because they're scaring away evil spirits. They're not bad gods, and they're important for agriculture. Here is the street where there are various shops. So there's shop there, shop over here. I'm not gonna keep pointing every shop. There's a shop, there's a shop. But there's also food here too. We haven't passed any yet, but I think we're coming up on it. All sorts of things here. Not just touristy stuff, I mean there is, but there's cosmetics as well. And of course, plenty of souvenirs, that type of thing. There are some things I do need to pick up, so I'm going to spend more time here, but we're heading to the temple now so we can see a few things and then we'll come back here. He is making one bite cake. That's red bean paste. And then they cook here. And then
Yes.
Oh, there it
Each
is.
one has that is a 5-street pagoda and doves and big lantern and flower. So each one has a different shape. Can
Oh,
you see?
yeah.
The dove and 5-street pagoda and a big lantern.
It's amazing.
That is the
Marshall wasn't originally part of our tour, but he showed up and he brought chicken. Here we go, fried chicken. And it looks pretty good, actually. We're gonna try it out. How is it? Looks like you got a lot of breading.
Oh, good.
Not a lot of chicken.
Oh, good breading, but yeah.
Pretty good?
very good.
Definitely want to try a piece of that. That looks delicious. So similar to what we did at the Shinto shrine where you take the water and sort of purify yourself, this is incense and you kind of draw it to the attention of your body where you're ailing, right? Like your shoulder, or if your shoulder pain or something like that. It's supposed to help with your ails. It said no photography, so I didn't want to video inside the hall, but essentially it's similar to what we did before. You take a coin and you toss it in and you do a prayer. In this case, you just kind of put your hands together and do a bow, and that's the like a light bow, not like a really deep bow. And that is the Buddhist way of praying, as opposed to the Shinto shrine where we did, it was essentially 2 bows, 2 claps, kind of big claps, like, you know, bring your hands out, put them together, claps, and then 1 more bow. Then that's after you throw the money in there. And so, yeah, there's a bit of a process, and it's very interesting. There's some things that are similar between both, and there's some things that are different between both. But the temple here started because 2 brothers who were fishermen found a golden Buddha statue in the water. And I'm a little unclear on this part because I didn't quite catch it all, but they found it again the second day, and they decided to build a temple around it. So it started as a small temple, and then it got bigger and bigger, and originally it was made of wood, and it kept burning down because it was wood and paper, because that's what they built with back in the day. And so eventually they made it with reinforced concrete. So now it's a lot more sturdier, and it's probably not going to burn down if it's concrete, but it looks very traditional. So the building itself is not that old, you know, certainly not as old as the Edo period, but it is still looks very traditional. You wouldn't necessarily know that it's a modern building. One year during Epcot's Food and Wine Festival, or maybe it's festival there, it's one of the festivals, they had these candied strawberries. They were in the Chinese pavilion, and then they never brought them back. And we saw people eating these in videos of Japan, so Josh wanted to try it. So I don't know if it's gonna be the same. They're just essentially candied strawberries, similar to the way like a candy apple is. What do you think? He has to taste it first. Really good. What's the flavor like of the candy? I know what strawberries taste like.
It's just a sugar glaze kind of thing.
Okay, let me try it.
It's very light. It's lighter than what I remember, which is different than what I remember from Epcot. It's a little more delicate here. Not the shell necessarily.
Actually, it does remind me more of a candied apple.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same flavor we had for the one, but these are good.
Is there almost a little cinnamon or something in there?
Yeah.
A little something else?
Yeah, I think so. Oh man, those are good. So the 4 strawberries were 500 yen.
About 350.
Yeah, about 350. Josh and I stopped by a conveyor belt sushi place called Sushi Go Round. And there's some sushi coming by, and then you, based on the different plates, is how much each piece costs, or the 2 pieces cost. And here comes my shrimp that I want. I'm a big shrimp sushi fan, so this is what I ended up with so far. I'll grab other stuff too, but this looks amazing. So we're done with Asakusa, and we're heading to, what was the name of this neighborhood? Akihabara, which is Electric Town, kind of the nerd mecca. So we split off. Josh and I had conveyor belt sushi like you just saw. Some friends had udon, and others went to a Kobe beef place, or Kobe steak place, where they had steaks that were, what would you get, Chris?
I got the Chateaubriand, 120 grams, so about 4 ounces. It was very good, but it was also about $230.
$230 for the one steak, but totally worth it. He said it was the best steak he ever had. What did everybody else get? Do you remember much about it?
2 people got sirloins, Marshall got a larger sirloin, and Eric got the filet. So everything was amazing. And our chef Nakamura was the best.
Cool. So pretty much they said that it was very expensive, but they felt like they got out of it what they wanted, which is, you know, important. I'm looking forward to probably having something like that here, either the head Kobe. I want to have Wagyu, and I'm expecting to pay a lot for that once we find a place to do it. But yeah, so a lot of us are back to, actually we're all back together Oh, except for 3 of us who ran into a toy store, and then they're gonna meet us over there. But we are finally all 12 of us here in the same place at the same time. That's only going to happen once more after tonight. On Friday night, this is Monday. On Friday night, we'll all be back together in the same place. So that'll be a lot of fun. We're probably gonna do dinner and karaoke that night, but we'll see how we all feel. Right behind us is a Bic camera, which is similar to like a Best Buy. It's an electronics store. And ahead of it, that's where you hear the music coming from. It's very Japanese. And then you can see part of Akihabara here. It's kind of busy here. See all the peoples and all of the anime kind of stuff. So it's anime, manga, electronics, that type of thing. And we've all been looking forward to coming here because if you don't know this, I'm sure you figured it out by now. I'm a lot of kinds of nerds. Disney's only one kind of nerd I am. And my friends are even bigger nerds because they're into more like manga and anime. I don't love those things. There are some examples of it that I like, but I'm not into it as much as other people. But this is the place that's the mecca for these kinds of things. So for examples, one of the floors in a building we're in has a whole bunch of gaming stuff, like actual gaming stuff. So there's Switch games over there. By the way, Tears of the Kingdoms is a great game. You should play it. There's a lot of that. There's PlayStation stuff over there. Accessories. More games. Wow, more games than I've seen than anywhere. There's some PS Vita stuff. Oh, that's cool. PS4. Pretty good gaming store, actually. And then there's like computer gaming stuff over here. So yeah, down below us was like models, like a bunch of different, like you could build Gundams, you could build like beautiful anime girls, and there were model paints, that kind of thing. So catering to lots of kinds of, oh wow, there's a Street Fighter console. That's pretty cool. You guys gonna play? Evan and Will are playing. This is pretty cool. I guess only one's plugged in because it says CPU.
Yeah, it's going. It's going on mine. So then I went to him to play.
All right.
You pick Cammy?
You're playing for our honor.
Sure. I'm gonna get my ass kicked. Who knows the buttons? Let's jump.
Oh, that is Cammy. I recognize some of these characters.
Yeah.
Playing as Jiri or yeah.
You didn't realize he's like the hardest difficulty.
Wait, which character are you?
He's that one that just jumped.
Yeah.
On the
Oh,
left
he's
mouse.
Jury? Okay, he's Jury. Mostly I'm just impressed with all of the different kinds of stores and how they're everywhere around here. We're like in this little, down the street a little bit, and there's a street that goes that way, and there's the main street there, and there's stuff over here, and there's stuff over here, and we just came from a shop. There's so much stuff here. It's so cool. I've never been to a place like this. It reminds me a little of New York in some cases, but not completely. There's enough difference. Something smells good nearby. There's a ramen place across the place, but there's restaurants around here. Everywhere you walk, something smells good. So we went to this place that has a total of 9 floors, and we're on floor 9 right now. We're gonna work our way down. So there are video games here. A lot of them are these kind of Gundam fighting games. This one's interesting because it's like you get cards and then you use the cards to play the game. So Chris might try that if he figures it out, because he keeps putting money in and it keeps coming out, but it might be tokens or something. Anyway, you can see the other things that they have here. Music games or things like Dance Dance Revolution. Games that spit out music or you have to do stuff. Alvin and Evan are playing Street Fighter against each other. We have a bet for who's gonna win. I always bet on Chun-Li. She's my favorite character. I was telling these guys that I won a tournament in college in someone's dorm, and they had a Street Fighter game on their, I think, a Super Nintendo at the time. And I picked E Honda. I had never played it before, but I picked E Honda and I just 100 hand slapped everybody to death because that was the one move I knew, but nobody seemed to know how to counter it, so I won.
I'll just save my mind for the dance campaign.
Uh-oh.
It's a big fight this round.
Wow. Oh man. Good. Dance Dance Revolution. I played this like way back in the 90s and I did okay at it. Calvin's killing it though. He's really good at this game. But anyway, this is like a whole like physical game kind of thing. We found a feed me orange thing. It's gonna actually squeeze some orange juice for Calvin. Like actually squeeze it.
This is so fascinating.
Oh yeah.
I just fall down and I fall into it and he gets squeezed.
Yeah, I assume there's a cup down there catching it.
There it is. I can see it. It's filling up.
Cool. Yeah, so just a whole reservoir of oranges up here. Slides them down. It's it was 600 yen.
Up for
450.
425.
425-ish. It's not bad for freshly squeezed orange juice.
Please do not exchange at shops.
And then if you push the cup back, it's probably putting it in there, and then it just pushes it forward. And it's saying something in Japanese, pretty much it's ready.
Oh, it was putting a lid on.
Oh, put a lid on it. That's cool.
Yes, it is.
Wow, I bet that is amazing. That is going to do it for us from the technically second day in Tokyo, but we were only here for a little bit last night, which was part of this video. We're gonna have dinner in the hotel because it can accommodate a party of our size. It's actually kind of hard to find a place. I mean, it's not that hard, but to find a place that can accommodate 12 people because restaurants here are very small. And there are some. We're close to Shinjuku Station, which apparently our guide today told us that there's lots of restaurants in there that might be able to do it that have big dining rooms. But after having walked around all day and planning to walk around all day tomorrow and the next day, we decided that eating in the hotel restaurant might not be a bad idea. And it's usually pretty busy, so it looks, and the menu looks good, so we'll find out. Thank you for joining us on our first day and a half in Tokyo. And tomorrow we'll be in Disney Sea, so join us then.